What's going on, guys? China Sky here. So to continue with my World War II Battlefield Ideas series, today we're going to be taking a look at the vehicles and more specifically the tanks. If you haven't seen the previous parts to this series before, make sure you click the link on the screen right now or check the description. Anyways, huge shout out goes to Reddit user OgiELman who created this awesome and detailed list for World War II tanks. I will have links down below to his Reddit, but much like my carbine video, I have taken the list, edited it, and added a few of my own ideas. So I hope you guys can enjoy it and maybe give me some feedback. First off, I believe that there should be multiple tank classes. There would be the light, medium, and heavy tanks. The light tanks will include the American M5A1 Stuart, the Russian T-70, the German Panzer 38, and also the Japanese Type 97 Chiha. In the category of the medium tanks, we have the American M4 Sharon, the classic Russian T-34, and also the German Panzer V. For the heavy tank category, we have the American M26 Pershing, the Russian IS-2, and also the well-known German Tiger II. So as you guessed it, the light tanks will be very fast because it has the least armor. The main gun won't do a whole lot of damage, but it will have quick short reloads to balance it. The heavy tanks are the opposite. Slow, it has very strong armor, but for balance, the reload times will be very long. And with the medium tanks, from its name, we of course know that they are the middle ground between the light and heavy tanks. They will have decent mobility, pretty good armor, and the cannon should pack quite a punch, but it should be as strong as the heavy tanks. For gameplay reasons, I would suggest DICE to make 3 different damage output models for the 3 different classes of tanks. Yes, I know in real life many of the tanks which are in the same classes do have different cannon sizes, allowing them to fire bigger rounds and do more damage. But for gameplay reasons and to just make things simpler, I would like to see only 3 damage models and not different ones for different tanks. As for how tank battles should work, I personally think it should be similar to how it is right now in Battlefield 4. It's all about positioning your tank at the right place at the right time, aiming precisely, calculating for bullet drop, and hitting the enemy tank in vulnerable places, that being the back, which should be the weakest point. I don't know exactly how capable DICE is of doing this, but maybe we can get a new system for ricocheting shells, adding more skill and strategy to tank battles, making them less of who hits who first. Personally, I would love to see this, but if this makes the game overcomplicated and adds more bugs, I would actually rather leave it out. So by now, if you're wondering and saying to yourself, the light Stuart tank is no match when you compare it to something like the German Tiger II heavy tank. Now to that, I would say, yeah, I agree. It's probably outmatched when you go head on, but look at Titanfall, look how the balance for that game turned out. From the heavy Ogre Titan to the light and smaller Strider Titan, it all balances out pretty nicely. One last thing that I have to mention before I move on to the customization, I would suggest that the secondary gunner should have the ability to duck and close the hatch to hide from enemy gunfire. During World War II, if you were a tank gunner, you probably had very little cover. It isn't like how it is right now in Battlefield 3 and 4 where the gun turrets are remote controlled from the safety of inside your tank. Adding this feature would make things a lot better and might actually encourage people to hop into a tank. I don't know, but I think it's definitely a feature they must add. Finally, let's talk about customization. So firstly, we'll talk about the driver, which will have the primary weapon and 3 choices. The APHE standard ammo that all the tanks get, the HE, which will be like how it is right now in Battlefield 4, it has lower velocity, but it does do more damage and it has a bigger splash radius, and also the APCR, which is the Sabot in other words, higher velocity, lower damage, less bullet drop, and basically a smaller splash radius. With the secondary weapon, we have the classic coaxial LMG and the HMG. We also have the smoke shell, which would fire a large cloud of smoke creating visual obstruction around the enemy. Next, we have the canister shell, and obviously it fires a canister of tungsten pellets for anti-infantry purposes. But lastly, for the secondary weapon, we have the flamethrower. This thing is going to be deadly for infantry, but for balance reasons, let's not make it do any damage to armored vehicles, and it should have a very short range. With optics, we only really have one, which is zoom optics. It basically magnifies the driver's view to assist in targeting and hitting enemies at longer ranges. We can't really put IRNV or thermal because they didn't really exist in World War II, but I think zoom optics is pretty good. But if you guys do have any more suggestions, leave your comments down below. Moving on, let's talk about the upgrades for the tank. First, we have reactive armor, which is going to do the same thing as it does right now in Battlefield 3 and 4. Next is faster reload, which is basically auto loader, but instead of having it not really do anything, I would suggest it to have a 1 second boost from the default reload time on the main cannon, because currently, at least from my own experience, the autoloader doesn't really do anything, so I rather run reactive armor. Lastly, we have maintenance, which does the same thing as in Battlefield 4, but I don't know, again, similar to the autoloader, maintenance doesn't seem to be doing anything, so again, I rather run reactive armor. Lastly, we have the countermeasures for the tank. First is the smoke screen, which launches a cloud of smoke that covers the area around the tank. Like I said before, it should be thick and people can't see or spot you right through it. Other than that, we have also the fire extinguisher, which removes any critical hits, and if the tank is below a certain threshold, maybe we can increase it to a minimum amount and allow the driver of the tank to get out of a tough situation. Lastly, let's talk about the customization for the gunner. Now, upgrade wise, we have gunner protection. I would suggest a sort of shield or barrier around the gunner position, giving him more cover. We also have belt feeder. It basically helps you to reload quicker. And lastly, we have gunner zoom. Now, since these are not remote turrets and they don't have cameras or anything, so they would need an actual scope. So maybe we can have a 4x scope added on the MG itself. Anyways, that about wraps it up for the World War II tanks. Again, these are just ideas that are made up. Feel free to leave your own ideas down below in the comments. I hope you guys enjoyed this concept video. Thanks for watching, give me a like and stay tuned for part 4 of this series. Peace out guys.